Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Aceikith Gaming and welcome to Interlagos. We are here for an iLMS race. So this should be, I would say, pretty difficult. Multi-class racing on this track isn't particularly easy. The one good thing going for us is that one, we're reasonably high up the field. But plus also we haven't got any LMP1, so we haven't got any nasty shenanigans happening with that, but we have still got two classes. Of course, we're still in the brand new Dallara P217, otherwise known as the LMP2 class car, which is the upper class of the two cars. So as you can see, we're setting off. We're starting in the number 5 car. So I can tell you this is split 3. There's 5 splits all together. So we have got GTE cars in this split as well. So there's a healthy amount of the two classes mixed in together. So we're hoping to try and get a good optimal finish. So we'll try and make it from there. Of course, Interlagos is very difficult. So the main aim is to play safe. Of course, as you can probably tell, you'll notice in a minute that as we go into the recording that my light wasn't switched on. I forgot to do that and it does get darker, so apologies that if you can't quite see me on the webcam as we go into the second half of the race. It was honestly my fault that I forgot that the light switch wasn't on, and it does get darker outside as we progress through the race. But enough of that. Just before we get into the race, if you do like the video, don't forget to give it a like, and also if you wish to view more iRacing content, which we're mainly aiming to do LMP2 racing and DP racing in this brand new monster, then please subscribe to the channel as well, and don't forget to click the bell button as well. That will give you notification for any new videos that I may upload into the future. But that's enough from me. Let's get back into the race. Hope you enjoy. Okay, so round about just less than a minute until we start getting off. So it does seem like an average split. The strength of the field for this one is 2.1k. Track temperature is 34 degrees Celsius. I will be honest, the practicing that I've been doing has been a little bit on the haywire side, but part of that is because the track temperature has been much higher. I would say that the track temperature right now is 10 degrees Celsius lower in this race compared to the kind of practicing I've been doing in practice. At my first practice session, it was averaging 47, so it was alarmingly high. So I was a little bit worried coming into this race, knowing that this isn't a type of track that you'd want to have high track temperature anyway, given the fact that it does have high tyre wear because of how aggressive you have to be on the steering.
Celsius, 60 minutes.
So, and also our car number is a little bit on the high side as well, with a number 5 car starting in P7. So I wasn't particularly happy, I'll be honest, with my qualifying. The first lap I did kind of made a few mistakes I didn't need to do, but it was respectable. The second lap I did actually have to abort. Had to tighten something up on the rig. I did just for a quick second. It wasn't anything problematic, yeah, majorly or anything like that. It was just one of the pegs that the wheel sits on just worked itself a bit loose, so like it can easily, like it's just a high tightening thing really. So, but anyway, so we got LMP2s, which is the class that we are in. So we are actually in the top class of 2. There's no LMP1s in this split. It'll most probably be just LMP1s will just be in top split, maybe a second split depending on how many people signed up to the LMP1 car. There is also GTEs in this split. Because of the Dallara P217 being a brand new car, this will probably be the most popular class. So you'll probably find bottom split just has these cars. Of course, that's not where we are. So iRacing is 2.1k. If we was to sit here, and I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get a better finish than P7, we will still gain iRacing anyway. So we just need to be calm and collective. This is an hour-long race. And also track temperature is a little bit on the low side, so it's alright. So it's not too bad. Well, we're just about to start setting off. So we'll see how we do. We're just going to I'm going to concentrate for the first few laps and get them under our belt.
Alright, Al, here we go. Go, go, go.
Right side. Clear to the right.
I've been very overly cautious because there's a guy right behind me. Started P13 by the way. He's already right behind me. What is that? 3 rows back?
Car left. Clear left. Left side. Clear to the left.
Be nice and calm, that's all we need to do.
Lap 1, fucking ridiculous. Jonathan, I will
Car right.
A little bit of oversteer on the corner exit. The cars are still warming up, don't forget.
Hold your line. Hold your line. Clear right. You're clear. Car right. Keep it steady. Hold your line. Keep it steady. Clear right.
So Christopher's definitely racy. Did make 1 position overall, but Christopher's going to get us here now.
Car left. Clear on the
We
left.
were just letting pie. Oh, he broke himself far too much. You see, that's what I mean. I was prepared to actually let him go, to be honest. But he just outbraked himself so much. At this early in the race, you don't want to be making them type of mistakes. It's all about just being calm and collective and picking your opportunities. Especially when you come up to lap other classes. Of course we won't be lapped by other classes, there's no LMP1s in this race. That's another thing you have to keep an eye on when you do get into the higher splits. Because there will be LMP1 cars as well. And racing in 3 different classes around you, and they have such a speed difference, especially the LMP1 cars.
6th place.
As an example, it can be quite alarming because of that. Like I raced the LMP1 car a little bit towards the end of last season. And like I had like a near hour-long battle with one other driver. And it was a great race to be a part of. But not all drivers will fight you hard but fair like that. You know, it's the same thing with even this race. These 2 guys ahead of me right now, they seem to be fighting hard but fair. But this is only lap 3. And this is looking to be 43 laps. Which may sound like quite a lot. Don't forget this is an hour-long race. But this is a relatively short lap around Interlagos.
The gap behind is now 1.1 seconds.
And multi-class racing around the track is not easy. You can easily get into a crash just coming up this hill. Just coming up this hill, you can easily get into a crash just because of position.
Just done 124 and 36.
So 25.5 at the first lap. Well, proper lap anyway. First lap is 24.1, which is fine for me. Did look up a little bit during that lap as well.
Okay, our fuel window will open after 31 minutes. Closes after 46 minutes.
I prefer going into second gear. It does feel like you're going quite slow out the corner, but it's so much safer because you can get easy quite a lot of wheel spin, which will destroy the tyres for later on. I do need to get that one turn sorted out. I can never get it right. And it's a very important turn because it's like a big run up this hill.
You've just done a 124.88.
24.9, so that's good. Somebody else has come out of the pits. There's another LMP2 car. Has obviously been part of the first lap crashes, possibly. It's already back out on track. By taking that turn in first gear, I don't feel quite so confident because you're going fast enough that you can just spin the rear tyres. There we go, that's better. Make sure you don't spin the tyres on the exit though, like I did on the first lap. Now the tyres are warmed up, it should be a little bit easier now. You just still got to be wary because there's a big run. If you've got somebody right behind you, you can easily lose a lot of time.
Behind. The gap's now 1.4 seconds.
Yeah, 24.6. So our lap times are going down. Which, to be honest, I'm actually quite happy with. Like, I was hoping to get into the just about into the 24s coming into the race. I wasn't quite able to do it in practice because of all the practice sessions being at high track temperature. It's good to see that I am in that without really pushing that much with the temperature that it is right now. Just got to keep that pace up. We have got a car that is a lap down to us in front of us already. It's not even 10 minutes gone yet. So the sooner he gets out of the way, the better it will be.
On your left. Clear left.
He did get out of the way, but wasn't exactly able to do it fast.
The leader's just done it. 124.16. Sector 1 is 0.26 off the pace.
I think I'm hitting the brake pedal a little bit too early in turn 1. I'm just a little bit nervous about looking at the front brakes in turn 1. Can be tricky in any car. Like even in the F3 car, which the F3 car with this track is a fantastic combination. I've done it so many times. But even in that, it's a difficult combination. It is. And maybe that's why I like it so much. So be like a lot of drivers don't like Barber Motorsports Park. For me, it's one of my favourite tracks in iRacing.
The gap ahead is now 1.5.
Okay, so we're catching up to Mark. He has lost the drive to the guy ahead of him. So maybe he's trying to force it. As you can see, we're not really pushing too hard. We're just keeping consistent pace. And we're getting away from Leandro just a little bit. And that's what I'm talking about. That little lockup. too much inside curve though. There's one thing that this car doesn't like is hitting the curves hard. But for me specifically, I found that out pretty quickly. Don't know how about Lyle, it can be a bit of a nightmare. You just have to be cautious and be steady.
P6. Okay, Al, that's good consistency. Keep it up.
I only lost a temperature mark on the last lap.
The gap in front is now.
Not making a couple of little errors. Catching up to our first GTE car already.
Slower class car ahead.
It's very surprising how quickly we can catch up to GTE cars. But the DP wouldn't do it. They would only do it this quick against GT3 cars.
One side, rewind. You're in the
Oh,
middle.
that was
Clear
risky.
right.
Risky.
Clear all around.
That could have been race ending.
The gap behind is now.
Right side. Still there. Clear right.
There we go. We got it.
Well done, Al. Great move.
There was
Keep
an
it up.
LMP2 car I think I just saw that's retired. Yeah, that was as well.
Car right. Still there. Clear right.
Oh, that was good. That was for
Slower
Mark.
cars ahead. These guys will be fighting for position. They might not see you.
Clear left.
As a matter of how we deal with the traffic now. Now, there is a bunch of guys all battling for position right here.
You're coming up on some slower cars. These guys are busy fighting. They might not notice you.
Car right. Still there. Clear right. Car left. Clear to the left. Car left. Clear left. Right side. Clear to the right.
Okay, Al, just keep hitting your marks. This is looking good. P5.
Okay, so we're up to P5. One LMP2 car seems to have towed because of an incident. Maybe with a GTE car. That is possible. Yeah, Mark is trying to push harder, trying to get away from us, but it's not really working. All we have to do is just keep calm, allow him to use his tyres up. And just make an easy
Track
overtake when he makes a
temperature's
mistake.
falling. It's now 33 Celsius. Stay close. front is now 1.1.
Section of GCE cars coming up.
That was 125.32.
But we're in the top 5 position.
Alright Al, you're approaching some slower cars. These guys are fighting for position.
Car left. Clear left. On your left. Clear to the left.
So if I didn't get past them two, then we're just gonna be left to dust for Mark.
Coming up on a slower car.
You know, that's the difficult thing about multi-class racing, especially like this. Is knowing when it's worth to push hard and jump force and overtake on a slower class car, and when to not do it.
Your last lap time was 125.39.
And right now, not worth it at all. Way too far back.
On your right. Clear to the right.
Of course, kind of made it a little bit more easier for me.
Right side. Clear right.
The gap ahead is now 1.2.
My PC making me know that the memory's low again. Got a bit luck in our last race that we did, but thankfully we managed to deal with that very, very quickly.
Slower class car ahead.
Left side. Clear left.
That was a little bit closer than what I wanted it to be. I've raced with Daniel a few times before. Got to get out of the way of me.
Clear
So,
left.
that's fine. Aston didn't have to do that. He's probably playing the race very safely, so he's giving us the position to take the turn.
Coming up on a slower class car.
Right side. Clear to the right.
Looks like a good GTE battle going on here.
Times are pretty consistent.
And amongst all of the traffic,
Right side.
we're actually
clear
going
to
pretty
right.
quick.
Car right. Hold your line. Clear right. Car right. Still there. Clear right.
Stay close. Wait for him to make a mistake.
On your left. Clear left.
It didn't exactly make it easy for me. wonder if he was more focused with the guys battling him for a position that he didn't really realise that was there. Which is a possibility.
Slower cars ahead. These guys are fighting for position. The group includes their class leader.
Well, this race has gone by so quickly, I've not realised it's already a third of the way through. And these are the front two GTE cars, so once we pass these two, and they're fighting quite hard, then we'll actually pass all the GTE cars.
That was 126.01.
Left side. Clear on the left.
The gap in front has increased. It's now about...
On your right. Clear to the right.
Okay, we'll pass off all the GTE cars now.
Okay, Al, you've got half your fuel left.
Well, we're coming back round to some of the back markers of them again. Well, we've got a sizable gap to Leandro. Now after this lap we should be back to normal race pace mostly. Don't think it's really worth coming into the pits just yet, it's quite early. But traffic will be an issue around the track. You just got to pick your
Slower
moments.
class car ahead. Your lap time was at 126.01.
Like, the race will come to you. Just got to pick the right moment when to pit, and I think that's probably going to be the deciding factor. Is knowing when to pit. Oh, Mark may got a bit of wheel spin on the rear end.
On your right. Clear right. Right side. Clear right.
Not sure why I finished it up to the third gear.
Wasting time behind this guy. Get your elbows out and get round him.
Yeah, this is a good hard race so far. Okay, now we've got the slipstream to mark. Might be able to make an overtake into turn one.
Car right. Clear right.
P4.
Too deep.
Well done. Nice front now.
I think that was probably a little bit naughty of me. Too much high curve.
Okay, Al. Hold your nerve. Just keep it smooth. No mistakes.
You definitely seem to have the early race pace. Maybe the mid-race is where I now start to be able to get a bit more speed out of the car.
The gap behind is now 0.8.
Bit wide, that's really compromised my exit. And he's close enough to get the slipstream, but is he close enough to make an overtake? he's not. I wonder if he was thinking about it. Now we don't want to be slowing ourselves down too much because Leandro starts catching up again. That wasn't too bad of a lap.
Coming up on a slower class car.
Just need to keep this pace going.
Right side. Clear to the right. Clear left.
The gap in front is now.
Ooh.
Right side. Clear right.
That was a little bit. That's right, just hold the line a little bit when you go through that section. I'll just make the pass straight away afterwards. I could have collected him in the back because I was aiming to just follow him
Your lap time
through
was
the turn.
125.56.
Now you can get it around the outside, but you've got to have confidence with the driver that you're going on the outside of, saying keep to the inside line. And maybe in higher splits they will do that, but in lower splits they may not. Plus also you've got to think to yourself, is it worth it? Like I've noticed that Mark has dropped off quite a bit on that last lap.
3.7.
He's actually gone far back, is now starting to battle with Leandro. So if these two start battling, that means we don't have to be quite so feisty getting through traffic. Like we might be able to get a couple of laps in of not having any traffic. I think I'm braking too early for that turn, and by doing so I'm going in too fast because then I realise that and then I accelerate before I actually get to the turn.
Okay, Al, we're at the halfway point. Should be about 30 minutes of fuel remaining.
It's halfway through already. This
P4. That time
the
was
race has just flown by.
124.86.
There's just been so much action. Like these are the first few laps that I've had all race where I've had no one to really race with. I'm now just trying to set good lap times. Like the track temperature's gone down by 3 degrees Celsius. It has since the start of the race. Like I think about 5 minutes in it was about 36. It's now gone down to 33. we're P4 right now, which is a very good job for us. The second race of Season 4 2020. So our first race that we had at Monza in the Inter Series, which by the way was at or just over 24 hours ago to the recording of this video. It didn't go exactly the way that I'd hoped, but we knew we had pace. And we're showing it again that we do have pace here. We're faster than the 3 guys ahead of us, but they are very far ahead. Now we're 14 seconds behind right now, but that might be partly because they're overtaking traffic again. And we're not. We've still got clear air, but we'll catch them up towards the end of the lap. So towards the end of this lap, we'll start overtaking traffic ourselves again.
Slower class car ahead.
So we are in the pit window. I'm not sure if it's worth coming in to the pits for fuel just yet. Of course, we do need to make a pit stop. We've got just under 20 litres of fuel left, which is basically 8.5 laps. So once we cross the start finish line, it'll be 7.5. I'm not sure if it's quite worth it just yet, but maybe another few more laps. But then if we're getting to all the traffic now, it might be worth it coming in now.
You're approaching some slower cars. These guys are fighting for position. The gap behind is now 6.5 seconds.
Far right.
Yellow flag. Caution. That lap was a...
Clear right. You're clear. Right side. Clear right.
Yeah, that was good for us. That was good from Edward. Being predictable, that's what you need to be in a slower class car, is be predictable. Stick to one side. If you're going to go offline, make sure that you're actually like making it clear to other drivers around you that you are doing
a slower car.
Like here, say for example, that was actually sticking on the racing line still, so I couldn't anticipate that with Francois a few laps ago. But after turn 4, he stuck to the outside line. That's readable, because you take to the inside line pretty early, so that was easily readable because he stuck to the outside. Just go around to the outside.
Clear left.
There you go. Make sure you're readable. Like anybody that is watching this video, maybe not done any multi-class racing and iRacing before.
On your left.
So that one's a little bit awkward timing. I just had to wait to make sure where he was going. That is going to happen. But to the high-class drivers, that's where people like myself right now, I've got to be patient, and that's what I have done.
Coming up on a slower class car.
But so what if I'm losing a little bit of time? What matters is getting to the end of this race, first of all, because there's no point being fast if you're not going to be safe. And that goes to any form of racing. You know, even single-class racing. If you're not able to be predictable and make accurate moves, then you're not going to finish.
Far right, clear right.
Your lap times are increasing. Come on, keep your focus.
Yeah, lap times are increasing because of going through traffic, so Not really a big bother for me. Dennis has just come out of the pits in front. Okay, I think around about now might... Okay, he's just gone off the track.
Like, keep your wits about you, mate. The gap in front is now 12 seconds.
So now it might be worth to start thinking about putting in. Of course, none of the front runners have pitted in just yet. But if we put in now, it does mean that we're behind all that GTE traffic again. So it might not be worth it. If I wanted to make an early stop, I should have made it a few laps ago.
Sector 1 is 0.6 off the pace.
I was still setting a good pace.
The guy behind's really you in. The gap's now 1.7 seconds. Slower class car. The track temperature's decreasing. It's now 31 Celsius.
Okay, that's good that it's actually cooling down by quite a lot. It is quite overcast as well. Be patient with this Corvette. We've got a bit of a gap behind us. Just make our intentions clear where we want to go. You see, that's just me being patient. We can afford to lose a bit of time right now. We're 5.5 seconds ahead of Leandro. Mark has fallen down to 7 for some reason, which is quite far back to where even Leandro is, which is a bit unfortunate.
Slower class car ahead.
It does make me wonder if maybe Mark was pushing too hard at the start.
Far right, clear right.
Possibly ruined his
5
tyres.
minutes of fuel remaining. 5 minutes.
Okay, so that's the call to save 5 more minutes of fuel. I'm coming through the main patch of GTE cars, but they are all split about.
On your left. Clear to the left.
And it's all about knowledge of other drivers. Like I said earlier on, I've raced with Daniel before, so I know, he's a respectable driver. Again, he's smart. For what I'd say is a low iRacing driver, like this guy, Kian Vandenberg, he's just reversed onto the track, on an area of the track where it's near the racing line. No, but we're going to box now. Might as well.
That's 20 minutes to go, 20 minutes. Look out for the pit speed limit. Pit lane speed limit is 72
Okay, so bear in mind, we're the first of the
Okay,
leaders
we'll to the end.
in our class to actually be pitting in.
The car behind's pitting now.
So we're actually setting the benchmark, and Leandro is pitting in as well.
There's traffic behind. Keep your wits about you. Slower class car ahead.
We're going to take it nice and easy coming out of pit lane. Okay, so we're out of pit lane. We're in a gap at least. We have got a couple of GT cars that we've got to pass immediately.
Your left. Clear to the left.
The leader is pitting now.
I'm not going to be able to do that. Not quite enough grip around the outside, I feel. Should make our intention clear
Right
where we're going to
side.
go.
Clear to the right.
Okay, so we've actually started making everybody else will start pissing in.
The car in front is pitting. Coming up on a slower class car.
We've just caused the pit lane to start become busy. And I think the race leader of the LMP2 class has got a stop and hold because he's still in the pit lane. Fabian is still out, so if its positions stay the same, we are now net P3.
Right side. Clear right.
Sorry, man, I didn't see that.
The leader's pitting now.
Okay, so Fabian is now in the pits. He was P3, I believe. He might have been behind me actually now thinking about it. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. I know I was P4, but the race leader Ross has had stop and hold penalty for some reason, for possibly speeding on pit entry. Which is quite an easy thing to do at Interlagos. So we are now net P3.
P3.
There you go, that's the confirmation just there. I managed to get a little bit more further ahead of Leandro in the pit stops.
The gap behind is now 7.4 seconds.
Of course, we're nowhere near Lars in P2. So now it's just about keeping speed, just trying to stay out of trouble. Of course, it's not going to be exciting for the last 16 minutes of this race, but it's all about keeping momentum going. Don't make any silly mistakes, because it's quite easy to do on this track. There's lots of places where you can make a mistake. So it's just about just keeping that speed.
Coming up on a slower car.
Find anything else, but this hasn't been an easy race. The first 20 minutes especially, racing with Mark, definitely didn't make it easy. It's unfortunate that he has fell back quite a bit since our battle. But we kind of set up our race for the long run. Okay, so GCs are starting to
pit
pit in.
exit in the pit, heads up. Minutes left.
Left side. Clear left.
There you go. Quite easily done. But there's certain turns where you can go side by side with another car, and it. Oh wow. Okay, I just don't like that. That's my first off track. Well, my first incident point all race, and we're 45 minutes gone. For a track such as this, I'm actually very happy with it. But this is a track where, if you play safe, but you've got a reasonable, consistent pace, you can do well. You can do very well. You know, I think this is one of those tracks where you especially need to play safe at the beginning, work your way up, try and figure out who you're battling with, who your rivals are, and then just pretty much go from there really.
Right side, clear to the right.
Vincent on pit exit. So Wurton actually, GTE class. Anybody else is just coming into the bits now. They have a little bit of an issue unless he tows or gets out of the way quickly. Like, I'll be honest, it's not an easy place to be. You need to spin on pit exit. Like, I've done it personally myself.
Left side, clear left.
Just about to say, how comes Daniel made so many places in the stocks? But that's because he hasn't pitted yet. Because then the fuel load for the GTE cars can take them quite far in iLMS. Mark is in the pits again.
Slower class car ahead.
Left side, clear left.
Okay, that's our second
Attention
incident.
to track limits. These out.
Maybe the tyres are starting to wear out a little bit. Didn't really check my tyre wear. It's not really the sort of track you can do it just by pressing a few buttons on a keyboard on this track. Look, you can do it, like coming up to the start-finish straight, but you're still turning. If you're coming up to another car, it's the last thing you want to be doing is taking your eyes off the screen. The car is going into the pit lane. This must be their final lap before they have no option but to come in, so that's good for me. And the front two are now starting to battle for the lead, but they are very far ahead. The only way for me to be able to catch up to them both with 10.5 minutes remaining is them to constantly battle each other really hard. They slow them right down, plus overtaking GTE traffic. I'll get a bit of luck with it. Maybe they even have a little incident. So I think I just got to consolidate this P3 finish. Like, if they get into a tangle, they get into a tangle, but I don't really see that happening, really, to be honest. Like, they're both of them being mature all race.
Okay, Al. 10 minutes to go. That's 10 minutes left.
So, and if they would have had a tangle with each other by now, they would have happened by now. But you never know. You just never know. And track temperatures started creeping back up again. It was 31 a little before we entered the pit lane. It's at 34. So it has started coming back up again. Might be a new personal best here actually.
You're pulling away. The gap behind is now 9.0. That lap was a 124.47.
Yeah, that was as well. The second quicker than P2 on that last lap. They are coming across a bit of traffic though, which we will be coming up to shortly. So it's a good idea to use what we've got left in these tyres now, which will probably now be in traffic for the rest of the race. But we are actually coming towards the late stage of this race. Become the quickest car on track.
That was scary.
You've got 10 minutes of fuel remaining. You're approaching a group of slower class cars. That lap was a 125.10.
On your left, clear left. Right side, clear right.
Slower class car ahead.
Clear right, right side, clear, clear to the right.
Five minutes to go. You're looking good for a podium.
Car right, right side, clear right, you're clear. Right side, clear right.
Slower class car ahead. The gap behind has now decreased to 8.4 seconds.
On your left, clear left. Car right, clear to the right.
Okay, we're through all that traffic. No incidents. We've got 4 minutes left. It's not too much longer to go, but we have overfueled a little bit. by an extra lap. I think maybe that the race leader was on the cusp, and now that he's just plain not going quite fast enough anymore, he's now, it's like he's not going to be able to make that extra lap. You can see on the bottom left hand corner, he's got the lap, he's got like a projected lap counter. There's one lap 40 at the moment, it's saying 41.9. And so that means it will probably go 42 laps long, but if the race leader's just about fast enough, he could make it to 43. But now they're going to battle each other now to very hard, because it's like there's now 3 minutes left. There's probably only going to be 2 more laps left now at this point. So they need to fight each other hard if they want to win. Whoever fights harder for first place will get that win at this point. Like at this point now, they might as well just fight each other at every corner. Like I'm just so far behind, I've got to pass an LMP2 car and 2 GTE cars just up ahead. And there's probably more separated between them and me. Yeah, so the only way that I gain any further positions is by me
just 2 minutes left.
basically getting extremely lucky because one of them spins or has an accident with these 2 more laps that we've got left. That's the only way I'm moving up anymore.
5 minutes of fuel remaining, 5 minutes.
But we consolidated this P3 finish for a little while,
On a slower car.
but we just continued getting faster. Like I can definitely feel the front tyres have gone quite a lot. Bear in mind this is a brand new tyre model as well. This is only my 2nd official race with the new tyre model. Not just in this car but overall. So we're still kind of getting to know how far we can take these tyres and how they'll work at the start of a race to getting to the end of the race. So white flag's out, so this will be the final lap of the race.
Alright Al, 1 more to go. Keep it together, we'll be on the podium.
Car right, clear to the right.
But while it's not been the easiest races by any means, it's definitely been a great race for us. We're going to gain a nice healthy amount of iRacing from this race. We're also going to be gaining a good amount of safety rating as well. So we did need to gain a bit of safety rating in this race. And there's Mark just ahead of us.
Right side. Hold your line. Clear right. You're clear.
That's a P3 finish.
2 minutes.
Definitely take that one.
Well done Al, great drive. That's a podium.
Definitely hard fought, but a very enjoyable one. This is definitely one of the better track combinations. Maybe one of the better tracks for this car, I would say. Not an easy one. Do wonder how worn out my tyres were at my stop. Yeah, so obviously you can't see it because I'm in the way of it. Ha ha, very funny. Make the choice all you want. But I honestly do not mind if you do. You know the type of person I am, for those of you that know me quite well. But the front left tyre took the most beating, 71% at the stop. The front right was on 72. So the front tyres, all in all, do take quite a bit of a beating, which is understandable. You're turning in quite aggressively for a lot of these turns to get any kind of speed, because you do need that around this track. So we'll park the car up. We'll have a look at a couple of little incidents during the race. Be back in just a few moments. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you a little thing. This was from the second lap of the race, bear in mind. So I noticed at turn 1 here, the guy that was alongside me here, I noticed he was very racy. At this very moment, I decided immediately that I wasn't going to try and fight him. Too early in the race for me to be able to decide who I was competing with. Decided here, I was just going to let him by. But because he was too focused on trying to get past me, he's put himself into his own little mistake. So what I'll do, I'll go back a little bit. And what I'll do, I'll show you a couple of cameras. I will as well. Obviously, I haven't seen them just yet, so this is my first time actually seeing it as well. So this is the viewpoint on him as well. So you could kind of see that he was too focused trying to overtake me. The problem is because he's tried to outbrake me, I've just proceeded to allow him by. If he was able to read that, he could have easily taken the position 100%. But because he was too focused and trying to outbrake me, he's outbraked himself. So that's just a little bit of a luck. I mean, it's one of them type of things that you'll get to learn as you do these type of races after a while. Let's see if we can try and get another cockpit camera. Here we go. So as you can see, there's the logo and also my teammate WSTET's logos on the side of the car there. This is actually the first time you're actually seeing this particular area of the car. But we'll watch the viewpoint from here. So you can see he sizes me up. Fair enough, okay. I've allowed him to pass by. But because he's outbraked himself, I've just braked a little bit earlier, expecting him to try and outbrake me and then just set on the apex. That's what I've tried to read. If I was able to execute that perfectly, I could have overtaken him back on this straight here. But because he's already outbraked himself instead of me, it's made it far, far easier for me. So it's a little thing to pick up when you're a little bit more knowledgeable. Going into like higher races, say for example more upper splits, which I'm a little bit used to, being near 3k once before, which I'm hoping to try and get back up to, but it's not a priority target. You know, this is only my second proper race back for a while. Like to season 3 2020, I did start off the season looking to do some more races, but I decided, you know what, I'm going to take the rest of that season off, which I did do a couple of races at the end of the season. But yeah, that's a little bit something to focus on for people that might be struggling and overtaking a little bit. You don't have to outbrake the guy to overtake a position sometimes. It's about knowing the knowledge of other drivers around you. Okay, so first iLMS race out and the way and over and done with. Definitely an entertaining one for sure, I can assure that. So we were, as we said early on in the video, we were split 3. There was 5 splits altogether. So possibly the other 2 splits may have been LMP1 cars. So let's go and have a look at that now, actually, very, very quickly, just before we go into our race results. Nope, it was only top split that had LMP1 cars. So that's something to see. 5 splits, but only the top split had an LMP1 cars. Does show that I think a lot of drivers that would have been driving the LMP1 car are driving the LMP2 car at the moment because of it obviously being brand new. Plus, the LMP1 car has so much more to handle. You know, it's not just requiring just outright pace or handling and stuff like that. It also requires hybrid boost management and so much more to take care of. So it's obviously, understandably, a much more difficult car to drive. So we finished P3 in our split. It was number 5 car, so we was expected to finish reasonably high, but I didn't expect to actually get on a podium. Actually, my second official race in the LMP1 car. Bear in mind, some of these drivers around us have probably been driving the car more than what I have, because as well as doing iRacing content, I do others as well, although iRacing is becoming my main thing again. So we started P7, finished P3. Definitely delighted with that. The iRacing gain is plus 64, so we're now 2192. So we're almost up to 2.2k, which is, I would say, is the typical medium threshold to an average driver, I would say. So we're carrying on that climb. By the end of the season, I think a target I would say that is reasonable, I would say, is 2.5k. I would like to try and reach by the end of the season. Of course, it's going to be difficult. I've got to keep racing. I've got to keep myself, you know, on the target goal, you know, which is what I'm doing at the moment. We also did gain plus 0.26 iRacing. Bear in mind, in our last race, we was 4.01 safety rating. So if we lost any safety rating at all, we was going to 3 point something. So we're now up to 4.27 safety rating. So we need to try and carry on getting this up a bit. Of course, it's not a big issue if we do lose it, because obviously it's very high. So, but 2 incident points only during that race, and both of them was obtained in the final 15 minutes of the race. And both of them were just like very minute off track really that I could have possibly have avoided, but it's definitely, I would say, something that, you know, I'm not going to be too worried about. But all in all, a very good race. So after a little bit of a difficult first race of the season in the IMSA race that we did earlier in the week, it was definitely good to be able to get a great finishing position of P3. Definitely hard earned. Most of the hard work was in the first half of the race, just maintaining pace, keeping consistent. That was the main goal. We managed to do that, and that's how come we managed to get the P3 finish. Of course, it would have been P4 if it wasn't for Ross obviously getting a what I believe was a stop and hold penalty, possibly for speeding in the pit lane. Of course, yet again, my PC, which I've now just recently recognised the reason to why it's been coming up with the messages, obviously, as you saw during the race. This time was a little bit luckier of when it came up and telling me that the PC memory was low again. So I have now figured out what the issue was, so that shouldn't happen again. So apologies for that little mess up during the recording, but I'm assure you that won't happen again anytime soon. So an excellent P3 finish. We're definitely learning a lot about this car, which is the main thing. So hopefully even more better results such as this. Thankfully we kept out of trouble, which was the main aim. Hope you enjoy, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.